Qualifying is ready to go here in Macau for the Macau GT Cup, the FIA GT World Cup. And for the first time, it is a two-part qualifying process because we are going to have 30 minutes and then we take the top 10 drivers and they will do 2 timed laps in the Super Pole shootout to determine the front of the grid. So the first part, if you like, is about not being slow. The second bit is very much about being quick. David Anderson and Alan Hyde are trackside. The cars are going to be released in the order that they finished the second free practice session, and that means Alessio Picariello in the Porsche and Raffaele Marciello in the BMW will go ahead of Sheldon van der Linde, and then Ian Schunguven, Laurin Heinrich's Porsche, the Ferrari there of Ye Yifei ahead of Christopher Haase, Antonio Fuoco, then Joel Eriksson. The number 37 Ferrari was Andy Deng, just going through shot. And there at the rear is the Benjamin Goethe-driven McLaren. After him will be Luca Engschler and Edo Mortaro's Lamborghinis. And then Lawrence Vanthoor, slowest, you might think, in FP2 if he's the last out. Well, sort of. He never got into FP2 because the car was virtually destroyed in FP1. He was the fastest, and then coming through Mandarin, his bogey corner, the car ended up with a spin, went into the barrier backwards, did big damage to the rear and the front. There is Vanthoor in the background. The car's had a new engine as well, so it's had to be completely rebuilt in a little over 24 hours. Lawrence Vanthoor has been a winner here in the FIA GT Cup, and he's now pretty much attacked Mandarin Corner in just about every conceivable style. Forwards, backwards, upside down, sideways, you name it.
But he is always incredibly quick. Yeah. Never write him off. And he showed the pace yesterday, and the car rebuilt. What a job by the team, and as you would expect, showroom condition. Yeah. A concourse car.
The Tempo by Absolute Racing team operates the blue Porsches, one for Alessio Picariello, the Belgian driver who won GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup this year and has done the bulk of his racing of late in Asia. The other for Lawrence Vanthoor. Tempo, in case you were wondering, is a make of tissue, like Kleenex. So thank you. They needed some yesterday to help mopping up the damage after the Vanthoor accident. However, although the entry is a little smaller to 16 cars this year, it really is a quality one, and trying to work out who is not going to break into the top 10 is going to be difficult because, in theory, all 16 are capable of being up at the front. Sheer numbers mean you can't be. We'll wait and see who ends up dropping out. 30 minutes then for Q1. And you'll see Lamborghini, you'll see good, strong Audi representation. And this is the Malco hairpin through which the cars turn. Laurin Heinrich ahead of the pack in the gold Porsche. Ian Schunguven's car out of the Schumacher CLRT stable is either silver or platinum, depending on how you feel about that.
The world's best GT drivers all convene here for the FIA GT World Cup. What a treat this is. Beautiful cars, mouth-watering cars, cars that we dream of, competing around a driver's circuit, a bravery circuit, and we're about to see qualifying over 2 sections. So we see a unique qualifying session, the like of which we've not seen here for the Macau GT World Cup. It's going to be fun to see how this pans out, but Laurent Vanthoor's team to get that car turned around and to be presented as, you know, I don't think we ever questioned that it would be.
No.
Absolutely beautifully presented Porsche 911 GT3 car. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, still don't bet against him being at the front.
Absolutely.
One manufacturer that we don't have this year for long reasons, Mercedes-AMG, and that means we don't have, and it seems odd without him, Maro Engel, who has been a regular winner at Macau, won the event last year, and I know Maro would love to be on the grid. No doubt he's watching from back home.
We'd love to have him here.
Well, yeah, but he is kind of here, if only in plastic, because if you go and buy a model of his winning car of last year, there's a Maro Engel tiny little figurine that comes with it, and I gather a roaring trade has been done.
I think we're sold out of that. Was that right? They didn't have that one, but they certainly did have a model of the car from last year, slightly bigger model as well.
Yeah.
And I remember the joy that he had. He was still in his overalls some 2 hours after the race last year, and absolutely soaking up the win.
Yeah.
So however many times you win here at Macau, everyone is special.
It is indeed. And this could be a driver to do it this year, because Alessio Picariello has, in a sense, flown under the radar a little bit in recent years, but he's a very, very good driver indeed. He's been a double champion in the European Le Mans Series in the GT class. He's been a winner in the Audi R8 Cup, the Asian-based championship. Very, very versatile, can leap from team to team, championship to championship, and this year, as I say, has won the GT World Challenge Europe Endurance Cup. Didn't win a race, but it was a consistent enough season to take the title from under the nose of Mauro Engel, Matteo Cairoli and Lucas Auer. So Picariello will be the first one through onto a quick lap. The one thing that we were worried about yesterday was the pace of the Lamborghini, because neither Luca Engschler, back after his big crash last year, nor Edo Mortara really were all that rapid. Mortara, you tend to think of as Mr. Macau. Well, he's won 10 races here, but the last win was back in 2017.
It's a long time ago, isn't it? And many occasions he's come here into this very commentary box to give opinion about maybe the Macau Grand Prix or any form of motorsport here at Macau. He always had a really good opinion and a really good insight into what it takes to focus around the gear circuit here at Macau. Interestingly, on this opening lap and the early part of this session, Eduardo Mortara has put in an overall best sector in Sector 2, something he didn't do at any time yesterday.
This is Vanthoor trying to get everything up to temperature, and then he can pull the pin in the Tempo Absolute Porsche, comes up towards the timing line, and Vanthoor goes by last year's FIA World Endurance Champion, but a winner of just about every 24-hour race going. He's won his class at Le Mans, he's won at Zolder, the Nürburgring, Spa, he's won the Bathurst 12 Hours twice, he's been a German Formula 3 champion, he's won Intercontinental GT Challenge, he's won Blancpain GT Sprint and Endurance and overall, you name it, Laurens Vanthoor has won it, and he's on the run now down towards Lisboa as Sheldon van der Linde's BMW just went out of shot. That's the car that's quickest in Sector 1. Picariello is quickest in Sector 2. And Christopher Haase at the moment, with the Audi number 45, has done the best lap time. Really good to have Christopher Haase back, and it's great to still see involvement from Audi, because we're not finding that in Europe, of course, now with the efforts. Whoops, van der Linde getting himself crossed up and in the wall with the efforts case of Formula 1, and the road almost blocked as Aintje Guven comes across the stricken BMW. Van der Linde ought to be able to hook himself out of there, but that was his error. Understeer just didn't quite get the car slowed down enough for Moorish. Yellow flag at turn 16. There is a reverse gear in there. If he can hook it back away, he'll be able to rejoin. So let's have another look. He comes up the hill and just misses his braking point, can't get the car slowed down, understeers to the barrier, and Sheldon van der Linde, who had been on a good lap, third fastest, but bringing out a yellow flag. And Alessio Picariello comes through now in the Porsche to try to improve from fourth, and he goes fastest.
With 4 out of a possible 5 overall best sectors for Alessio Picariello, and 2:17.480. By the way, I think we should give a mention to number 11, to Guven, who was able to avoid the BMW just in front of him. That was really good avoidance, because at that point, I don't think the arrow board to keep left and away from the BMW had been able to have time to get out. But we need to recover the BMW, and for that reason, we have a red flag.
We do indeed. Yeah, you're right. The board hadn't come out. Guven was first across the scene and was just able to dodge through. So it looks like it's got itself slightly stuck. I thought it was able to reverse out of that, but Sheldon van der Linde will lose the best lap time for causing the stoppage, and van der Linde's BMW then stuck in the tyres. He'll want to try to get back with the car under its own steam rather than be put onto a flatbed and take no further part of the session. But he is the cause of the stoppage, and the best lap time of Sheldon van der Linde's WRT BMW is accordingly cancelled, we're told.
22 minutes, just over, when we get this session resumed. I'm not sure it's going to take too long to get the BMW recovered, you know, and we can get this session back underway. By the way, Raffaele Marciello had just put in the overall best sector. We're looking at Eduardo Mortara, and it's significant as well when you see Eduardo Mortara and the absolute concentration on his face around the gear circuit. Barely blinks. It's quite incredible, the intensity of a lap around the gear circuit at Macau, and known so clear as when we have those shots of Eduardo Mortara working in his office inside the cockpit of whatever car he is in.
It was 3 years ago, wasn't it? One of the COVID years, where he was on the front row of the grid for the GT race and went too early. He went, the pace car, as it was for the rolling start, left the grid, and Mortara went with it without waiting for the green flag and was penalised accordingly. And he was fuming, wasn't he?
And we were surprised. I think everyone was surprised.
That he made that error, But he saw the car, the official car go, the leading car, if you like, and went with it rather than waiting for the green flag, and for that he was given a penalty.
So into pit lane they come. That is Eduardo Mortara, 10 wins at Macau. He was superb in single-seaters for the Macau Grand Prix. He has been superb in GT cars as well.
Yeah, double winner here in single-seaters, and winner in GT cars. He's won qualifying races, main races, both some years, and he's also won the odd support race like the Audi R8 race. In fact, 2013, you could argue, was probably his best year because he won in 2 different categories. He won the GT race and the Audi race.
That's right, yeah.
That's Benji Goethe in the McLaren, run out of the Optimum Motorsport stable. And that's Adley Fong's Cinema Roll Audi.
Isn't that a great livery?
Do tell us more
about Cinema Roll, who is a character from the... You don't want to know, do you? No, you don't want to know.
We've had the red flag specially so you can tell me this.
Well, I can get my Karomi folder from last year and tell you that Cinema Roll is a white dog who lives at Cafe Cinnamon, and is a male, white and chubby dog with long ears that enable him to fly.
Ah.
He has blue eyes, pink cheeks and a tail that resembles a cinnamon roll. What do you think his main hobbies are?
Oh, I don't know. Boring people senseless.
Eating.
Ah, that'll be it.
Okay. Yep.
Right. Are you done, or have I got time to go and punch myself in the face?
I'm not going to give you all the details.
Oh, thank God,
because I don't think you're genuinely interested.
Now, let's have a look at Porsches, because Alessio Picariello, who is the fastest driver in the session, and he has arrived in the pit lane, and he is without cartoon characters, flying dogs or cinema rolls or anything.
Just on another point about Cinema Roll and that livery on Adley Fong's car, the attention that it gets locally is immense. They are queuing up from 6 o'clock in the morning just to get the little model or the T-shirts or anything. It is something unique to this region of the world. And we got you a T-shirt in case you're asking.
eBay. Thanks. Right, there. More and more drivers returning to the pit lane. Where have we got Van der Linde then? He's now 10th, isn't he? So with the time taken off him, he drops to 10th. And that's a bit marginal because, as others have yet to do a lap time, I reckon he's not going to get into Q2. So Sheldon Van der Linde is now looking at being near the back of the grid. There's a car there with a flying dog on it. Did you notice? The session is going to resume in about 4 or 5 minutes' time, yeah?
Plenty more time to chat.
Can't see many Cinema Roll T-shirts in that crowd shot.
Because the queue is so long, but this is mine.
It's works well on radio, this.
Yeah,
yes.
it does, yeah.
Alan's got his T-shirt, everybody.
Yeah.
He's very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adley Fong's not overly happy because he's not got a lap time in yet.
He was, for a little while yesterday, top of the times, wasn't he?
Yeah.
In free practice.
Very experienced driver these days, Adley Fong. He used to race in the UK, you might recall, in British Formula 3. That's going back, can you believe, 15 years.
Is it
when
really?
He raced his first race in British Formula 3.
Goodness.
He was the Audi R8 LMS Cup champion in 2013. While Eduardo Mortara was winning the race here, Adley won the championship here. He's raced at Le Mans in the Oak Racing LMP2 entry, and he's been a regular in different colours. What Alan failed to tell you was that Cinema Roll is joined by Chiffon, Espresso and Mocha, amongst others, the other characters. Oh, he's gone through his file again.
No, I would have told you, but you sort of stopped me short. I had another paragraph.
Oh, well, save yourself, because, you know, But not done yet. Sheldon van der Linde's BMW.
Did you do your own homework on Cinema Roll?
Somebody sent me information.
Oh,
I felt it rude to turn it away. The BMW was on the back of the flatbed, and we're not too far away then from getting the circuit clear. Whether or not he's allowed back out remains to be checked. So at the moment, the cars that are outside the top 10, Yeifei, well, he ought to be in. Laurin Heinrich, he ought to be in. Raffaele Marciello, he ought to be in.
Definitely.
Andy Deng, capable of being in. Adley Fong, capable of being in. And Antonio Fuoco should be in.
Yeah.
So who's on the bubble? Well, van der Linde, there he is. Sheldon, the South African driver, I think he's gone. Lawrence Fantor is marginal. Mortara, Goethe, Engschler, 8th, 7th and 6th, they might be in jeopardy. This is going to be really, really interesting. We've barely had a lap out of everybody. We've got a lap out of 9 drivers. In fact, yeah, van der Linde has been put to 10th, but the best lap taken off him, well, it was his only lap. So he's going to end up without a lap time, potentially.
I think it was that bad for the BMW, but requiring a flatbed recovery. I think we thought maybe just reverse gear and on his way.
So as the drivers get ready to resume the session, then we will have the cars ready to go very shortly. And when they do, Alessio Picariello will be the driver to beat. So it's Porsche, Porsche, Audi, Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, McLaren, Lamborghini, Porsche, and those are the 9 with a time right now. Meanwhile, if you spot yourself on the screen, this is the reaction down in the grandstand at Lisboa. Session is going to be resumed in just under a minute's time, as the engineers are on the radio. It's down for the Audi squads, as you can see. The car of Adley Fong coming from the Uno Racing team, and it's FAW Audi Sport Asia Team Phantom for Christopher Haase and Joel Eriksson, who's raced here in the past in the Formula 3 Grand Prix. He was runner-up, in fact, in 2018. 32nd board shown, and so 22 minutes of Q1 and then 2 laps each for 10 drivers for Q2 remains.
Looking forward to getting this back underway. 22 minutes and 19 seconds in prospect, and a great mixture of manufacturers and cars, as always, for the FIA GT World Cup for the Macau Grand Prix. And let's see what happens. Green flag is shown, session back underway, and this is not the final session of the day, of course. They will go into this shootout for pole position. 2 races over the course of the weekend. Qualification race tomorrow, and the big race for the GT World Cup on Sunday. Here we go.
Right, that's silver or platinum?
A platinum.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Why, do you know better?
No.
That sounds like Adder's on a trick question.
No.
Right, okay.
I was saying yesterday it was silver. You often thought of platinum, and I was just trying to work out how you differentiate it.
Because he is a platinum driver, and Heinrich is a gold driver.
Fair enough. Go with that as a theory. Like that. That's good. So Andrew Gruber, this year's DTM champion in the platinum coloured one, and the Turkish driver, sponsored by Red Bull, came out of Porsche 1 Mate Racing, won the Super Cup, won Carrera Cup around the globe as well, and also winner of the very first FIA GT Nations Cup, kind of spawned the Motorsport Games that will be hopefully back next year.
But whether it's platinum or silver or and gold, they look absolutely spectacular. Just gorgeous.
Yeah, Colm Ledegar, the CL of the CLRT, a very good racer himself, GT champion, but without any fanfare, just stepped away. Started his own team, didn't say I'm retiring, just started appearing in the pit lane, and you were conscious that he's not raced for a while. But there was no fanfare to it, but he's built a really big team running lots of different cars. In GT4 last year, for example, he was running at least 2 different manufacturers within the same race, which is pretty unusual, and that's on top of 1 Mate Porsche programs and GT Porsche programs. So it's become a very busy operation in a really short space of time.
I was part of his junior racing career many years ago when he was competing in Formula BMW, and part of his media training all those years ago alongside Anne Bradshaw. And he was one of the nicest guys we could deal with. He's a lovely bloke.
the first time that his team has been here. It's the first time that Guven has been here. Laurin Heinrich was here last year. And Raffaele Marciello yet to do a lap time, incidentally. Didn't bother going out with everybody else, just let it breathe, and he's gone out on his own, so he's not going to get caught up in any traffic. Marciello knows how to play this game at Macau. He's been a winner for Mercedes. Of course, last year he switched to BMW, and fittingly, his last win in the Mercedes AMG was here.
And he was exceptional in single-seaters around Macau as well.
Yep.
He's got a rich history here at Macau, and another really nice guy, isn't he? A really good guy to deal with, and incredibly quick.
And so laid back. He's the most un-Italian Italian. A few years ago, he won a GT World Challenge Europe sprint race with Timo Bogoslavski at Valencia, and the question was put to him, how many wins is that this year? And Lello's answer was, don't know. It just doesn't count. Just gets in, drives very quickly, goes home.
Does the job.
Might get a trophy, but yeah, we were bouncing up and down with the fact that it was his whatever 4th, 5th win of the year, and yeah, in Raffaele, in his land, doesn't matter. Don't care. Just, you know, I want to win, but the numbers don't matter. Absolute best sector 2, Christopher Hauser in the Audi. Not this one. This is Joel Eriksson's car that we're looking at. Very distinctive Audi engine note that these R8s have made. It's been a very loyal servant to the GT3 category as the R8. It's now on the second generation Evo 2, but even so, it's been a hugely successful project for Audi Sport, and it's great that there's still involvement in Audi Sport, at least as far as the Asian market is concerned, where the cars sell very well.
Overall best in Sector 1 for Raffaele Marciello. Came out later than anybody else in the number 53 car. And that's the intention. Sector 1, overall best. Christopher Hauser with, as you say, David, overall best in Sector 2, but Raffaele Marciello, one to watch here.
Yeah, and with clear track space, then the pole I would offer you ought to be his. Picariello's Porsche, Dorian Boccolacci's Porsche going down towards Melco. So just under 18 minutes of this part of qualifying to go, and then you take the top 10, they go out in reverse order, 2 laps, and you count your better time. See how close they get to the wall coming off Fisherman's Bend.
So
Picariello, I think, in the background, wasn't it? That's Christopher Hauser. And this has been a good lap for Christopher, has it not? 4th, and he might go top here, let's see. 2nd he goes behind Picariello.
Eduardo Mortara has just been overall best on Sector 4. We said that Raffaele Marciello went overall best in Sector 1. Sectors 2 and 3, personal best for Raffaele Marciello. But Eduardo Mortara, this might be his best time so far, goes 6th. So Eduardo Mortara with a 2:18.032. And that was pace that we didn't get an insight to yesterday, Macau.
We did say yesterday you could imagine the Lamborghini team making representation about its BOP. Well, I'm feeling pretty convinced that did happen because the cars look a lot racier today than yesterday as we go on board with Raffaele Marciello, who is heading towards the end of the lap. This is R Bend, and he's heading up towards the timing line. The time he's got to try to beat is now Yeyefei's 2:17.3, and Lello goes through and goes up now to 4th fastest on a time at 2:17.660. So you've got Ferrari from Porsche, Ferrari from BMW, Audi from Lamborghini, then Porsche, Audi, Lamborghini, Ferrari. Yeyefei, winner at Le Mans this year with Robert Kubica and James Hansen, is fastest by 1/10 of a second.
Impressive that, isn't it? 2:17.306. That's the time we're aiming for now, with Picariello going overall best in Sector 2. Raffaele Marciello once again. I had this theory yesterday that year after year the BMW is really, really good in the first sector, and Raffaele Marciello rather proving that for a second consecutive day. It was either he or Sheldon van der Linde yesterday that were going overall best in Sector 1. It previously always used to be Augusto Farfus qualifying or racing. It was always that first sector, and Marciello goes overall best in Sector 1 once again. Picariello overall best in Sector 2. Fuoco overall best in Sector 3. And I love this. We're getting these overall best sectors for 3 different manufacturers.
It's true, shows how the BOP works, doesn't it, in GT racing, as there, 9:11, is Alessio Picariello, whose lap might have just tailed off a little bit, because he did 2 really good sectors at the start, but 3 and 4 have not been so flash. Joel Eriksson's Audi has just gone to the top of the time, to 2:17.074. At the moment, the ones outside of the top 10 are Fantor, Goethe, Fong, Guven, Heinrich and Van der Linde. Van der Linde is going to be at the back because of the accident, we know that. He won't be able to take any further part, as now Picariello goes across the line and stays third fastest. Here is Antonio Fuoco, who led last year after some demon overtaking moves. Laurin Heinrich's just done an absolute best in the fourth sector. Adley Fong and Cinnamoroll are on their way down now towards our bend. Dorian Boccolacci is in the pits, Luca Engschler is in the pits. Fong will carry on, Fuoco carries on. Both of them go through toe-to-toe, and Fuoco goes second. Adley Fong still 13. This is Laurin Heinrich, who did an absolute best sector 4. Andy Deng has just gone by 11, he doesn't improve. Heinrich goes by, goes top in the Porsche. Laurin Heinrich then quicker by 0.4 of a second from Joel Eriksson.
2:16.602 now, the quickest time out on the circuit, and first time that we've seen Laurin Heinrich at the top of the times over the course of this weekend.
On board with Raffaele Marciello, who has just improved, Alan.
He's gone second, has Raffaele Marciello, 2:17.028. Only one car in the 2:16s, and that is Heinrich in car 22. Top of the times, Raffaele Marciello on the previous lap went overall best in sector 1. Hasn't done that this time, hasn't even gone green or personal best in sector 1. So Raffaele Marciello maybe backed off a little bit at the start of this lap, getting himself ready. We've still got 13.5 minutes left of Q1 for the FIA GT World Cup, Macau GT Cup. I still think there's plenty more to come from Lawrence Van that rebuilt car.
And I think Goethe still has a lot to offer as well. So you've got two cars to keep an eye on, and Joel Eriksson's Audi to be third is an outstanding effort, given that it's one of the older cars in the entry, and they're not really being developed anymore in the face of the opposition. Laurin Heinrich still pressing on in the gold Porsche because he's doing absolute best. This, though, is Fantor as he comes now down towards Fisherman. So right now, this rebuilt car is outside the top 10. Lawrence Fantor needs to get in, of course, and we've got number 19, Luca Engschler, being investigated for overpower. So the technical team will want to just check all the telemetry to make sure the car is not offering more than the regulation power. Over the timing line has gone Fantor. He has improved. He's up to 8th fastest, and quite a number of them now heading down the pit lane.
So fascinating stuff as ever whenever the GT3 cars are out on circuit. They're so big on the tight and twisty sections of the circuit here at Macau. You almost wonder how they thread their way around, and they do so with amazing pace and expert drivers at the very top of their game. World-class drivers here at Macau. Laurin Heinrich, top of the times, 2:16.602. Yet to complete this lap, he's gone purple in two sectors, and that last lap was a 2:16.795. Backed off just a little bit on the final two sectors.
Interesting, isn't it, that the Porsches 1 and 2 are split by 28 thousandths of a second, but they're run by different teams. This year the cars have torque sensors on them. Porsche was one of the manufacturers that was quite keen on introducing that regulation, and it seems to have paid dividends. You've got BMW 3rd, Audi 4, Ferrari 5, 6, Audi 7, Porsche 8, Lamborghini 9, Porsche 10. This is Ian Guven, 13th, needs to break into the top 10, breaks the beam, goes up to 9th, he's in. That forces out Dorian Boccolacci. One Porsche in and one Porsche out.
Yeah, it was looking like a good lap being threaded together. Nothing to spectacularly go quicker than anybody else in any of the sectors, but certainly quicker, personal best on every single sector for Guven on that lap. 9th place and through. 11 minutes remain, anything can happen here. Lawrence Fantor overall a personal best rather in sector 1, and Guven has carried on personal best in sector 1 as well.
Adley Fong, meanwhile, is charging along, heading up now towards Donna Maria, and he's improving in the sectors. Alan, I feel you should talk him to the end.
Be a great day, wouldn't it, for all supporters of Adley Fong, and he has many of them here this weekend at Macau. Some of them don't even have tickets to get into the Macau Grand Prix, but they certainly get their option of buying the merchandise outside the circuit, and they feel the support. Okay, he went personal best in sectors 2 and 3. Not so in sectors 1 and 4, but is it going to be on this lap an improvement in position? We'll find out any minute now. Threads his way up towards the completion of the lap. His best lap, a 2:19.308, which is good enough at the moment for 15th, and then into pit lane.
And Lifong, though, 15 fastest, heads for the pits and possibly another set of boots to go onto that car, another set of Pirellis. This is Eduardo Mortara, who is now 12th, so the Lamborghini is sort of back where it was yesterday. Luca Engel is the one on the bubble now, 10th, his teammate. Mortara's car from the Absolute Corsa team as he comes down towards Faraway Hill. But more and more of them now making the run into the pit lane, a new set of Pirelli slicks to go on. But Mortara just does not seem to be sparkling this weekend. And his teammate Luca Engel has lost laps 3 and 4 for this overpower. The balance of performance stipulates that the maximum power the cars can have. It can be traced, and if you overpower, then lose those laps, and they'll have to address that on the pit stop.
And that's all done presumably through electronics,
yeah. Telemetry, yeah. Yeah, so it's certainly moved on with GT racing. The cars have evolved, the technology has evolved, and what people can see and how has evolved as well. Over the line goes then Dorian Boccolacci, and didn't get himself into the top 10 on that lap. He's got time to have another go, and he stayed out rather than coming into the pit lane. So Dorian Boccolacci then is 11th. So the ones that miss out, Boccolacci, Mortara, Deng, Goethe, Fong and van der Linde.
And we've got 8.5 minutes of this session remaining. We are on board with, he is known as Mr. Macau. Such a figure here at Macau every year, and you touched on it yesterday, David, in the Grand Prix Museum here at Macau. Has a very, very spookily lifelike waxwork. The waxworks are provided for the Macau Grand Prix Museum by Madame Tussauds, and they are just amazing models. Very, very strange if you're in the museum and you happen to see the model and you happen to see the real life driver or rider as well. They are so lifelike, you do a bit of a double take, and I think even the drivers and riders do a double take themselves.
Yeah, there's one of Michael Rutter, isn't there, as well? There's one of Rob Huff.
The Rutter one is probably the best, I think.
Yeah. And he sadly is not here this year, the fabled motorbike racer, after an injury on the TT.
Yeah.
Right, we've got, as you ride on board with Edo Mortara, you've got into the pit lane Raffaele Marciello, and you've got Ayenchen Guven, who's been a bit of a slow burn all weekend, starts easily and then builds up, which in a way is how perhaps you should approach Macau. He has now done 2 personal and 2 absolute bests in this platinum Porsche, coming then now onto that fast section of the circuit down towards Arbend. And a 2:17.3 is the best lap that he's done. He's 7/10 away from the top, and as Ayenchen Guven, the Turkish driver, comes up towards the timing line, he goes by, and he goes quickest of all, and that is a 2:16.442. He's a 10th quicker than his teammate Laurin Heinrich. It's now Porsche 1, 2, 3.
And Platinum Porsche works because of the alliteration as well, so it's definitely a Platinum Porsche. On top of the times, 2:16.442 for Guven, Platinum driver he is, and car number 11, top of the times from Heinrich in second place in the golden car number 22. About a 10th of a second behind in second place. Gone.
That was Dorian Boccolacci going over the line and going 8, so he's into that top 10, and that forces out this man, Luca Engel, unless Luca can respond, because he's gone better in sectors 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and he's about to finish 5, and he goes back into the top 10. So now it is Lawrence Fantor that gets booted out. Engel goes 8th, Boccolacci 9th, Christopher Haas is on the bubble 10th, and Fantor is out. Mortara is out. Yes, Mortara is out. Deng, Goethe, Fong, van der Linde, they're the other ones that go.
A couple of surprising names just outside the top 10, aren't they? 2 of them significantly, both former winners here, Lawrence Fantor and Eduardo Mortara, both outside the top 10. However, we have still 5.5 minutes just over yet to run in this qualifying session, the first section of qualifying for the FIA GT World Cup. Diminishing light now for the first time here, it's noticeable. We've had a really lovely sunny day here at Macau, local time 20 to 5 now in the evening. The circuit opens up to normal traffic at 6 o'clock, and that's when it's dark here at Macau. And just now, it just starts. I think you might get your wish with headlights coming on for Q2.
Just towards the end, maybe, yeah. The Audis have had a really strong session. Joel Eriksson, who's not raced a GT car here before, as we were saying, he's been runner-up in the Grand Prix, but he's not been a GT racer here. He's going great guns to be 5th fastest. That's been an impressive effort by Joel Eriksson.
5 minutes yet to run on this Q1 section of qualifying for the FIA GT World Cup here at Macau. And wherever you are in the world, you are very welcome to seeing the world's greatest GT drivers competing. And rarely, this is a rare occasion that they don't have to get out of the car and hand it over to someone else. It's mine, all mine for this weekend when you get into your race car. And these are the most beautiful race cars. Here we go. All of a sudden, we go into another gear because Antonio Farocco in the Ferrari has gone overall best in Sector 3, 28.1 in Sector 3 for the number 50 car, currently down there in 7th place. And yeah, Yiffy in car number 83 has gone overall best and therefore 5th place. It went overall best in Sector 5. This session is not over yet, is it?
Far from it, and Dorian Boccolacci 10th, Lawrence Vanthor 11th. There's about a 1/10 of a second between them, so Vanthor is the next one to keep an eye on, but the sector times are not yet looking all that flash as Antonio Farocco here comes up to take the run out of our band over the timing line. He's 7th at the moment. He crosses the line to go fastest. 2:16.3, 69 thousandths quicker than Joel Eriksson. So it's Ferrari, Audi, yes, really, Porsche, Ferrari, the top 6.
2:16.342 that time for Antonio Farocco. We had a Ferrari lead the FIA GT World Cup, albeit briefly last year, but it led, and it's
Mortara's up to 8th, so he's just gone in, and that forces out Boccolacci. So Boccolacci is out, Vanthor is out, Deng, Goethe, Fong, Van der Linde. The one I'm still surprised about, though, is that Vanthor hasn't got in, but this lap that he's on, we'll pick him up in a moment when we got Benji Goethe over the line. This lap for Vanthor is looking stronger. Goethe improves, but does not get in. First time that Benji has raced here. First time Optimum have run a GT3 720 McLaren here. So there's a lot of learning and it's all building. So, you know, you can see progress is being made, but it's a single car as well to bring back the data. Now, this Porsche of Lawrence Vanthor is, as I say, on a quick lap. Sector 1 an improvement, Sector 2 an improvement, Sector 3 an improvement.
Let's see what he can do in the remaining 2 sectors in the Porsche. That car rebuilt, a lot of rebuilding overnight to get it looking quite as beautiful as it does. Is it handling quite as well as it did yesterday when Lawrence Vanthor topped the times and then didn't end up taking the end of the session because of the accident that he had in the Porsche? Well, he's improving on every sector so far. Up towards the final sector he goes, just outside the top 10 at the moment. He's there in 12th place, coming up towards the completion of a lap in car 992.
We've also just had Joel Eriksson's Audi go fastest by 71 thousandths of a second. So Vanthor is 12th. Can he get himself into the top 10 as he comes across the line? The answer is that yes, he can. So Lawrence Vanthor is 8th at the expense then of Luca Engschler. We just had another improver go by, and that was Christopher Hauser, I think, who's got himself in as well. Mortara into the top 10. This is Dorian Boccolacci down to 12th then. Raced here 10 years ago in the Grand Prix. Never raced a GT car here, and that lap started well but didn't finish the flash. We've only got a minute and a half left.
We have, and Farocco goes top, 2:16.11, 2:16.111, and what are we going to have for Adli Fong? Up towards the line, personal improvements in every sector, and goes 12th. Oh, so close, but brave effort that. Ends up in 12th position, does Adli Fong, and Joel Eriksson has just gone overall best in Sector 2. This is not over yet, is it? Antonio Farocco has gone top of the times. He and Eriksson over the last couple of laps have traded the quickest lap of the circuit, and at the moment Joel Eriksson in 2nd place has gone overall best in Sector 2, personal best in Sectors 1 and 3.
So flying Farocco then, fastest by just over a 1/10 and a half. Marciello's done an absolute best in Sector 1. Benji Goethe, oh so close then to getting through because he's up to 11th and needs to find just under 0.2 of a second to get himself into the top 10. Now these drivers coming out of Melco Hairpin are going to have to work hard to make sure they squeeze another lap out of the session. Remember that after Q1 we have a short break of 20 minutes, and then the cars go out for their 2 laps for Q2. So headlights ablaze to warn the traffic ahead of progress. Down they come. There it is, number 46, Joel Eriksson, second fastest. This has been an outstanding effort by the Audi team and Audi driver. He's up towards the timing line. Checkered flag is out, and Joel Eriksson goes quickest at the very end on a 2:15.927. That is outstanding for one of the oldest cars, driven by somebody who is new to GT racing here. Christopher Hauser has just gone through and gone 7th, so he's back in, and that forces Vanthor to the bubble. So Eriksson, Fuoco, Picariello, Guven, Yeh, Marciello, Hasa, Heinrich, Mortara, Vanthor, the top 10. And you're riding with Marciello. So the BMW is 6th. Remember, it's not necessarily about the fastest time. It is about getting through into that top 10 as Dorian Boccolacci, who's down in 14th, comes over the line, and he improves to go 9th. So Vanthor's out, and Vanthor's taken the flag.
Goodness me, it was right on the edge, wasn't it, for Laurens Vanthor? And now goes down as far as 12th. Raffaele Marciello in 7th place. It's all changed right at the end of this session, but that is significant. Laurens Vanthor is out of the top 10.
And that all comes back to the accident of yesterday. Marciello over the line to go 3rd and into the 2:16. So we lose Luca Engschler, Laurens Vanthor, Benji Goethe, Adeli Fong, Andy Deng, and Sheldon van der Linde kind of lost himself, if you like, by the self-induced incident that put him into the barrier. So Joel Eriksson it is then who is the fastest from Antonio Fuoco. So you've got Eriksson, Audi, Fuoco, Ferrari, and then BMW 3rd for Raffaele Marciello. Alessio Picariello is 4th in his Porsche. Ayanchen Guven's Porsche is 5th, and Yeh Yifei's Ferrari 6th. 7th, Larin Heinrich's Porsche. 8th fastest, Christopher Hauser's Audi. 9th, Eduardo Mortara Lamborghini. And 10th, right at the very end, Dorian Boccolacci in the 23 Porsche. Joel Eriksson's been an absolute hero in that, for my money. Runner-up at the Grand Prix to Dan Ticktum, and then moving to the DTM for a spell and Formula E. And good to have him back here. But Joel Eriksson, in, as I say, one of the older cars. It's one that's not really being developed anymore, the Audi R8, but in the right hands it is still very capable indeed. Bravo, Joel Eriksson. So the teams will be given a new set of tyres for Q2, and purely for Q2 as well. But Joel Eriksson fastest then by just under 0.2 of a second. A really impressive effort, that. Raffaele Marciello for 3rd fastest. And the target then becomes that 2:15.927 of Joel Eriksson. But the time that you do in Q1 is only to get you into Q2. If you're in the top 10. If you're outside the top 10, it is what you rely on for your grid position. But if you make it through, and Alessio Picariello did, and Laurens Vanthor didn't, then you wipe the Q1 time and you rely purely on what you do in this 2-lap Super Pole shootout. Cars being waved down the pit lane, 1 or 2 for the scrutineering area, which include Laurens Vanthor. In the background you see Alessio Picariello, Belgian driver, coming down the pit lane.
It's not just a great sound that these cars make when they come into pit lane, it's also the shaking of the building. We're over the other side of the circuit, and it's just an incredible sound and feeling. It's an assault of the senses. We see Alessio Picariello being pulled back in pit lane, coming in 4th place, and as the rest of them head into the pit lane, a few of them get picked off for technical checks and go through those technical checks. Shame for Laurens Vanthor. The team have worked really hard to get that car turned around, but you kind of wonder, maybe it's not quite the car that it was for him yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of new bits on it and a new engine as well. So, you know, the team come up with a car that is, you know, with lots of time spent on it, good for Macau, and they've had to rebuild one, or build a replacement, if you like, in about 24 hours. So inevitably, it won't quite be as it was. So the Cinema Roll Audi will take no further part, but at least, Alan, you can drool over it for now.
And so can the people here at Macau, because it's been a very popular. There are so many school trips here. Can you imagine the cheer that car was getting going down towards the grandstand for the school kids for today? It brings a lot of people a lot of happiness, I think.
Well,
me included.
I was going to say, you could do with giving some good news for Laurens Vanthoor, because he's had a pretty bleak couple of days.
Yeah.
And a driver that's won here in the past, about to clamber out of the car in a rather resigned fashion, I think. Clearly, there's something else that they need to do on that car. Yeah, you can see off his demeanour, he's not happy.
Yeah, disappointed not to get into Q2. However, the good news is the car is in one piece. Could have been so much worse, couldn't it? You really don't want to, after the team have worked so hard, to have another little moment and make more work to be done. If they're going to work on the car, then they can work on the car to make it quicker. So, confirmation that Joel Eriksson, car number 46, is quickest in Q1. Antonio Ferrocco in the Ferrari, quickest in, second quickest in the Ferrari, number 50. Raffaele Marciello, the BMW. So, 3 manufacturers in the top 3, and then it's made 4 by the fact that we have Alessio Piccirillo in 4th place in car 911.
And those that we lose: Luca Engschler, Laurens Vanthoor, Benji Goethe, Adley Fong, Andy Deng, and Sheldon van der Linde, who put himself in the barriers. Q1 is done. The top 10 will go into Q2.